Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you are watching this. Welcome to Mentor Mornings, my friends, where I share wisdom from people far wiser than myself to help you own your journey and fuel your day. Knowledge, is it a prison or does it create freedom? And what is the goal? To remain neutral. Henry David Thoreau says, to know that we know what we know, and that we do not know what we do not know, that is true knowledge. As we learn information about the world, how the world works, and understanding, maybe theories about amazing events, all of a sudden our brain literally starts to change. We start to create new neurons and our brain forms. And when this happens, suddenly we start to develop new perceptions, new beliefs. We see the outside world from a different perspective. And when we have that different perspective and these new beliefs about how the world works, suddenly we start making different decisions. We start taking different actions because we literally see the world from a completely new perspective because of the information that we have taken in. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. We've all heard that saying, but what is power? What is power? Can power be used for good, or can power be used for evil? And how does that play out inside of ourselves? The brain is a fascinating tool, but who is it that guards and protects our brain? Who is it that guards and protects our mind? Who is that? What is that? You probably are saying right now, well, me. Well, what is me? When we look at what it is that protects the mind, the gateway, from my perspective, it's this divine spark. It's that still and silent voice within, the awareness, this unchanging thing that exists within us through pain and suffering, through joy and gratitude. It is unchanging and always solid and within. And then from that place, we can say, well, what is the mind? What is the brain? What is mind? Mind, it's the quote unquote ego. It's the part of us that bases who we are on our name, on our past experiences, on what we have been through, on what we think, on the knowledge that we hold. Both extremely valuable, both needed to exist within this world today. And so if our self, the part of us that is aware, exists and it sees the mind, the part of us that is thinking, the part of us that's judging, the part of us that's moving through the world, our mind is susceptible. Our mind is susceptible and craves not only understanding, but certainty. Certainty. It means it has to know. Aristotle said, all men desire to know. And so if knowledge is power, we can look at like electricity. Electricity is power. And electricity can be used to power a city, or it can be used to take a life. Knowledge can be used to create freedom or create a prison. It has the equivalent power. And so we are the guardians of our mind. We must protect what goes in. So there's going to be information that can free us. It can give us inspiration. It can give us hope. It can give us power. It can give us courage. It can help us move through our lives. And then there's going to be information that creates a prison. It creates fear. It creates scarcity. It creates contraction. And it's our job to be able to guard that doorway, to be able to entertain thoughts and ideas that come at us or that we seek out without solid acceptance. It's being able to entertain new ideas, new thoughts, perceptions without that blind acceptance. Robert Lynn said, one of the greatest joys known to man is to take flight into ignorance in search of knowledge. Into ignorance in search of knowledge. So the path of freedom in the pursuit of knowledge comes from the place and the phrase, I do not know. I do not know. And being able to hang on to that despite the craving of the mind of absolute certainty. Absolute certainty leads to obstinate acceptance of a fact. Obstinate acceptance of a fact. And when we have that obstinate acceptance of a fact, that's when we become ignorant, because now our minds are not open to new information anymore. Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. says, the mind of a bigot is like the pupil of the eye. The more light you pour upon it, the more it will contract. And so falling into that trap of obstinance, of ignorance, it's completely natural when we're facing looking into the unknown, the journey of trying to understand the unknown. Herodotus says, this is the worst pain a man can suffer, or woman, to have insight into much and power over nothing. Insight into much and power over nothing. And when we begin to explore, trying to understand how the world operates, why it is the way it is, the dark underbelly of society and the things that exist and go bump in the night that most of society does not want to look at, suddenly we're faced with this understanding of all of this ugliness, and yet we have to accept within the fact that we can't influence that. And that is freaking painful. And when we are in pain, we contract. Just like when we're hit in the stomach, what happens? We double over, all the muscles contract. When we fall and we experience an injury in our back or in a joint, it's because the muscles contract around it, and it's the same thing within us. When we experience pain, we contract, and contraction equals obstinance, ignorance. There's an African saying that says, when elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. That's a powerful visual representation of what's happening today and where we are. And so from that place of being able to accept the fact that we cannot change the direction of the world, like all of the knowledge, all of the understanding, everything that we try to grasp, we cannot change the outside world. Suddenly we gain this power and this focus, this perspective of what we can change. And that's where our true power comes in. That's where our true power comes in. So this is the path to creating a free, loving, and just society. A free, loving, and just society is by understanding that all of the knowledge, the understanding, that's power, and we can pull that inside, and it's taking the journey into the vastness of our inner selves. That space of self. So, to sum all of this up, to sum it all up, say remain fluid, formless, being able to observe and read and understand things without solid acceptance, and being okay with saying, I don't know. I don't know. That is freedom. That is true freedom. Guys, if you appreciate this video, please hit the thumbs up button. Share if you feel it is worthwhile. Subscribe if you are not already. And I will see you tomorrow on Mentor Mornings, my friends. Rise unconquered.